So the other day, someone asked me, why do people hate Classically Abby? And honestly, I was a little confused at the inquiry at first because I didn't know who Classically Abby was. And then I googled her, and it turns out I knew exactly who she was. She was actually Ben Shapiro's sister. And yeah, after watching a few of her videos, I understood exactly why people hated Classically Abby so much. Much like people's disdain for Girl Defined, Classically Abby seems to be a channel dedicated to trying to give women some degree of standards or morality or some code of conduct of which they can adhere to in order to be considered a respectable young lady. That's why people hate her. So that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go and click the like button. Hey, shoot, go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios. Fine. I shall extrapolate. So why do people hate Classically Abby? Well, I think the first thing we need to I need to explain is if you look at her channel analytics, if you look at the like to dislike ratio, I feel that it is a bit inaccurate to the quality of her videos. Not because I personally don't find much wrong with her opinions, apart from maybe a slight disagreement here or there, but it's because of the nature of how YouTube response videos goes. Usually when someone makes a response video, they add a link to the video they're responding to, so other people can get the full context of what's being said, or at least that's supposed to be its purpose. At least that's why I always do it. So how this is relevant to Classically Abby is that apparently she ran an ad for her modesty video. I never saw the ad, but a lot of atheist YouTubers, or I guess anti-theist, would be more accurate YouTubers, saw it. And because Classically Abby is Jewish and, has a lot of traditionally conservative values, that hurt their feelings. Hurt their feelings enough to make response videos to Classically Abby, telling her how hurtful and how harmful she is to their feelings. And so, since a lot of other anti-theists had their feelings hurt real bad, they went to Abby's videos, and I think a lot of people just subscribe to just hate bomb her at this point, but they dislike a lot of her videos. So whenever a brigade like that happens, it's very hard to really judge whether or not the video is bad, or whether or not the video just got caught upwind, or I guess maybe downwind, to an audience of people that already dislike her and don't agree with her in principle. So they don't really listen or engage with anything Abby is really saying, they just already dislike her. And hell, Girl Defined is very similar to this. I've made a couple of videos talking about Girl Defined and how, in all honesty, if you listen to the things they say, it teeters on really good advice, kind of meh advice, kind of obvious advice, and kind of okay advice. Nothing they say or do is honestly bad or harmful to anyone except the feelings of women that feel like they failed at being women. And I know that's gonna take quite the explanation, so here goes. So let's start off with this. Lots of women don't really know how to be women, and they spend a lot of their time at feminists and when liberal minded areas of them trying to redefine what it means to be a woman and trying to take back their sexuality and their power. So a lot of liberals and feminists really register what their power is in being a woman in their sexuality. And you see it a lot with this new, sex worker craze, OnlyFans and whatnot. You see it a lot with the pictures they make, with Instagram, with the articles that they write, with their rampant promiscuity. So the way that a lot of women have defined themselves is in relation to their sexuality, their ability to have sex with males and be attractive to males, which is rather ironic, but that's, you're gonna have to save that dissection for another video. So whenever someone comes in and threatens that power that they have, whether they recognize it consciously or unconsciously, it puts the fear of God into them, because that power is a very insecure and fragile power as well. I mean, for as many simps as one woman could muster, those simps could break away and leave and go to another woman at any point in time. Say their taste changed, or the woman hurt their feelings that day, or the woman stopped providing whatever service that the simp liked. The power is fragile. It's very destructive when you have it. Hell, it can actually save the lives of men. A woman could save a man's life if she used her powers wisely, but they just absolutely refuse to. But the power is indeed so fragile that any little bit of pricking at it causes these people to lose their minds because they're terrified of feeling like they're absolutely nothing. A lot of these people are soulless. And what I mean by soulless is not necessarily that they're lacking in any degree of morality, but they're lacking in any degree of like care or like expression, kind of beyond basically what the culture is saying is the right thing to do. Like, these people don't really have a great degree of integrity, and they don't have a great degree of like self-knowledge and self-understanding. Like I said, like the thing about what integrity really is, at least the way I understand it, is like a code of morality or conduct that you would do that is independent of what anyone else says. So it's the way you feel. It's what you do when no one else is looking, right? So like if you find $50 on the side of the street after someone just dropped it from their wallet, are you going to put it in your pocket, or are you going to walk up and give it to them when no one else is around? Are you going to clean up trash and make the environment look better? That's integrity to me. It's independent of what everyone else wants. Now, liberals don't really have integrity. They only have, especially women in particular, they only have what the culture deems okay and what's all right. So ironically, being modest, which is a huge video that these people really did not like Abby's modesty video. And I didn't even watch the video to its completion to completely understand why. It's because asking women to become modest is putting responsibility on them. And responsibility is but kryptonite to them. Women hate responsibility. They super hate responsibility for men. Like, if you suggest that a woman should do anything for a man in 2020, ooh, buddy boy, does that hurt their feelings so bad? But it does, and they don't like it. But you also have to keep in mind that if a standard for being a woman is created, and these radical feminists or these liberals don't fit that standard, then they fail at being a woman. And you have to recognize that, like, the starting point for a lot of these people is self-loathing and misery to begin with. And misery loves company. So them seeing a married woman, Abby, saying, hey, do this and you might be happy, bothers them greatly because they're miserable and they're sad and they're frustrated. So when you compound all these different elements together, the fact that their sexuality is the fragile power that gives them worth, that gives them value, and then you see Abby trying to take it away from them, they get offended. They get their feelings hurt. It bothers them greatly because the only thing that gives them worth is being chipped away. How do you be a good woman? You either go into the corporate field and try your best to be a man, which is like providing a stable environment for yourself. Ironically, it's not even providing a stable environment for your family. It's for yourself. So it's not even really like being a man. It's just the only way these ladies in the corporate field can measure themselves, because they don't have a standard of what it means to be a woman in that environment, number one. Number two, the standard of being a woman in a lot of metropolitan or like city-like areas is rampant promiscuity. It's independence. It's not needing a man. It's only treating men like sex objects and treating yourself as a sex object in turn to obtain money. So also being a prostitute basically is now one thing that's being pushed upon to young ladies of a younger and younger, honestly, not even a generation, but like honestly, even younger girls are starting to recognize being a prostitute is something that's going to garner a lot of attention and is a way to reflect your femininity and your sensuality. So what happens is, again, because these people start from a point of self-loathing, from the get-go, from the beginning, these people are very self-loathing. When they get hit with a standard of code of conduct, a measurement that tells them you're not good enough, it hurts them to their core. They are filled with pain and misery because they're already feeling it, and it just feels like a smack in the face when a pretty white woman comes along and says, hey, look at me, I'm married, here's how you do it, you fail. To them, what they hear, they're not recognizing the obvious truth of the reality of what Abby and Girl Define is preaching. Because like, if we look at what a marriage is in principle, the way it's supposed to be, women get a lot out of that, don't they? Consider the following. If a woman picks a good man to be with, not the best, but a good one, who's got some degree of honor and integrity, she gets a companion, so she won't be alone. She gets a nice person to be around. Again, if he's pleasant, if he's cool, if he's great, you get that. So you get a good friend. You get to have sex. So there you go. That's pleasure. By turning that, if you want children, you get to have children. You don't have to go to adopt. You just have sex. You have your own children. You get a stable environment. If you two are working people, you can combine the income and double it. If not, if he has enough income to take care of you, then you don't have to work. So when you compound a marriage and like a good marriage, a good stable environment whose purpose and function and intent is not to make you feel good about yourself, but to create a stable environment of which you can raise children and impart morals and values to them, then women stand to benefit a lot. The way people look at modern relationships now are gigantic validation machines, number one, and number two, these drama-filled bullshit friendship globally group messes where there's no labels and there's no there's no responsibility people have to each other. It's just people swapping semen and whatnot with one another just because it's a nice sexy bowel movement that feels good, right? That's what sex has been boiled down to, just a bowel movement that makes you feel good at the time, rather than its telos, which is creating people. That's really the purpose of sex, creating people. And when you disconnect that purpose and point from sex, all you're left with is a validation machine and a bowel movement that just makes you feel good. And most women usually use their sexuality just to validate their own existence of being meaningful, rather than using it for the pleasure unto itself. How do I know this? Because do I need a scientific study for this one, guys? Come on. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, come on, YouTube, come on, do I need to? And then just number two, just the way people mate select nowadays, it's not predicated based on, can this person raise my children with good moral values? It's, does this person make me feel good about myself? That's how you mate select, at least, in our contemporary society. So when you look at all of that, when you compound all these different elements together, my point in bringing up the fact that if you look at what a marriage is supposed to be in principle, nothing classically Abby says, and Girl Define, I'm going to add them in here too, is really egregiously bad, right? If their grand point is, I'm married and I'm happy and I'm in a stable environment and everything's great and fine and wonderful, here's how you can do it too. Here's a standard of which you can appear to be happy like I am. It hurts the feminists and the Whipples' feelings. It hurts their feelings bad because they have to recognize an obvious truth that they don't want to recognize. They failed at being a woman. They failed at being a woman. And it hurts them. And I can understand that. I can understand feeling bad because you failed at being a woman. Or, if not that, another thing that really bothers these people, from what I can understand, is their upbringing is one of legality, one of like a form of Christianity that really, some of them are Mormons too, and that's a false religion anyway. So, but a form of Christianity usually that puts a lot of rules and restrictions on them without giving them the wisdom to understand the principle of why they weren't allowed to do things. So a lot of these people feel really restricted in their sexuality, and they feel bad and guilty, and so they lash out at classically Abby and they lash out at Girl Defined because of that upbringing they had growing up of being restricted and feeling like there's something wrong with them and feeling bad for having sexual thoughts or sexual proclivities or whatever the like, because their parents beat this into them without telling them, hey, listen, sex isn't the bad thing. Sex with multiple people you don't know is the bad thing. The context of which it's being done is bad. In a marriage, it's fantastic. It's two people who love each other, who only want to be with each other, and they want to have children. If not to have children, they want to enjoy each other's body together. That's a wonderful thing. But doing it with strangers because you hate yourself and you want to feel like you're worth something is a bad thing. But a lot of these liberals can't recognize that because they're still stuck on the fact that their mommy or their daddy hurt their feelings when they were growing up and made them feel guilty about masturbating or whatever the jazz. So a lot of them aren't really recognizing what classically Abby is saying in principle, as in, okay, here's an argument that she says, let me think critically about this, where is she wrong? It's that, oh wait, hold on, you said something my parents said, I hate my parents, they made me feel bad growing up, you're making me feel bad, because I feel bad about myself, you're the problem. There's something wrong with you, and they lash out. They feel bad about themselves, so they lash out at the person that made them feel bad about themselves. They feel like it's an attack rather than they feel like it's any degree of a suggestion or an argument or just an opinion someone else has. That's what's causing all of these different emotions to rise up within them, and that's why I can say with 93% certainty, I don't know why I paused there. That's why people hate classically Abby. Because at the end of the day, she tries to give women some degree of standards to adhere to, and women hate that shit. It makes them feel less of a woman because they can't measure up, since a lot of them have already had their vaginas blasted by Chad over, since their high school days. They're starting really young, man. It ain't right. Or, alternatively, it reminds them of their parents, and their parents made them feel bad and guilty about their sexual feelings. And so now they lash out at these two girls because they talk about modesty and having some degree of decorum. As far as I understand it, that's why people hate classically Abby. So, I'll probably go over some different video responses as time goes on, just to give you guys a good idea and show you. I personally don't really agree with Abby on everything, and there are some proclivities Abby has that bothers me myself. It's not really so much a defense of Abby. I don't think she's right on everything. But I'm gonna kind of go over some videos in the future so you guys can get a taste, and then I'll jump back on the Girl Define, which I was supposed to do for a while now, and I just didn't. So finally, now with that being said, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Shoot, go ahead and click that. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.